Hello, welcome to the Lincoln Zone. In today's session, we are speaking about lessons learned based on Abraham Lincoln quotes. We are going to master the art of thinking like Abraham Lincoln. How to think like Abraham Lincoln? Let's follow this simple 3 steps process. Step 1. Start with writing down your thoughts. Before you take any action, before you start jumping on the task you need to do, start planning by thinking before doing. Do the heavy lifting with your mind before you start doing it with actions. As a result, your actions will be much more effective and productive. Abraham Lincoln grew up during an era when thinking was not valued at all. Even today, in our modern times, action is often more regarded than thought. Ask yourself, how is it in your work environment? I bet doing is much more valued than thinking. Well, despite all of that, Abraham Lincoln became one of the greatest thinkers the United States has ever produced. He was thinking all the time. There is even a famous quote in which Abraham Lincoln describes his thinking process. When I get ready to talk to people, I spend 2/3 of the time thinking what they want to hear and 1/3 thinking about what I want to say. You want the evidence? There was one particular witness who attested it. John Nicolay was Abraham Lincoln's private secretary. He kept detailed files about Abraham Lincoln's preparation notes. When asked about Lincoln's thinking and writing process, John Nicolay said, "There were many of these scraps among his papers, seldom in the shape of mere rough notes, but almost always in the form of a finished proposition or statement, showing great deliberation of thought and a solidity of opinion and argument." You got it? Step 1 is about starting first to get the basic idea on paper and take it from there. It's very much used in business. In marketing, we call it a storyboard. In process writing, we call it a decision tree. Writing your thoughts down makes it easier to refine your thinking before we go to the next step. Step 2, simplify, simplify, simplify. The second step is about clarifying your thoughts so they become so easy to understand that even a 5-year-old could get it. I don't know about you, but my problem when I start writing down my thoughts is that I would get into a level of details that make it overcomplicated in the end. It's a bit like there is a big forest and you focus only on one tree and you would get very detailed about that tree and you would get lost in describing how that tree looks like. However, in doing so, you are completely forgetting about the forest. And focusing on the tree rather than focusing on the forest can lead us to plan badly our actions or to make bad decisions because we get distracted in plunging into too much details. So how do we do that? To simplify, simplify, simplify? We step back and we try to push out of our minds any details or argument that are absolutely not necessary or not relevant to the problem that we have or to the action that we are trying to put in place. Filter out what is not needed for what you want to accomplish. Obviously, what we're keeping in the end has to be relevant to the topic or has to be relevant to what we want to accomplish. I would like to quote now Albert Einstein. He said, "Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler." It took me some time to understand what Albert Einstein was saying and was talking about. It's about really keeping what is important, what is at core. If you do that, then you will discover that you will think the same way that all great thinkers think. How exciting is that? Now, the last step, step 3, is about connecting the dots. Basically, it's about logic and thinking, logical thoughts together. Let's take another quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "All men are created equal." And now, if you connect the dots, he developed this concept of a nation as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, really building around that idea that all men are created equal. Let's do a quick recap on how to think like Abraham Lincoln. First, write down your thoughts. Second, oversimplify it. And third, connect the dots. This is how great thinkers think, and you can apply it to all the areas in your life, being in the business, in science, in relationship. I wish you now to start thinking like Abraham Lincoln. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe if